parties. Those are assault parties, and I was one of the kids that was one of the party favors. And a party favors means that you're set on top of a table and you're used as a toy for anybody who comes across the table or who wants to party at a certain time of night when the music stops and then the DJ starts flashing all these lights.
One time he locked me in containers with his shipment of kids.
Staff here at the port became aware of screaming and banging coming from a container from that particular ship.
Pounding and beating on the walls of that trailer.
Now, Al B. Sure is using his second chance at life to fight for health equity.
After surviving a coma and liver transplant, he's an advocate pushing for real healthcare change. He's also exposing shocking truths about the music industry and recording artist Diddy in his upcoming tell-all, Do You Believe Me Now?
Y'all won't believe this. Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast. So I'm gonna just say my job on this channel is to just be the messenger. I'm gonna just give y'all the information and it's up to y'all if y'all decide to believe it or not. And I'm gonna say wholeheartedly, a lot of you all are gonna struggle to believe half the things that I tell you in this video. But the information is out there. You can fact check me and everything. I'm only gonna give y'all the facts. Alright? And another thing I'm gonna say before we get into today's video, Allie Carter, the woman who has been accusing Diddy of doing all sorts of things, from her, assaulting her in partnership with other celebrities. She's named politicians, even some presidents. She's been doing it since 2018. And people was calling this woman crazy, calling her a clout chaser, saying she's never met Diddy before. And time again, all the things that she's been saying about P. Diddy are now being proven to be true. And I can say wholeheartedly, after just looking over the past 2 or 3 days and the things that have come out, and the trial hasn't even officially started yet, and the things that are come out are things that Allie Carter was saying years ago. A lot of it she reminded us about last year. So the purpose of this video is I'm just gonna bring y'all up to speed about what's going on with the P. Diddy trial, remind y'all of a lot of the things that the charges that he's facing, and what things look like today. Because as a lot of you all should know, the jury selection for Diddy's trial actually began a few days ago on May 5th in Manhattan. And there's been a lot of delays with the trial because, remember, this has been the biggest story for like the past year, or at least the past, 7 or 8 months. It's been the biggest story out there. So it's been very difficult for them to be able to find jurors that has not already heard about the P. Diddy trial, have not formed their own opinions about Diddy, right? They want as many unbiased people as they can find. And my understanding is that they now have 18 jurors, but they're still trying to hand select the best jurors that they can. And as a reminder, the charges that Diddy is facing are federal charges, right? Including racketeering and transportation for prostitution. And prosecutors are alleging that for over 2 decades, he used his influence to exploit women through coercive and abusive acts. And one of the key central figures and witnesses in this trial is definitely going to be Cassie, his ex-girlfriend, who alleged that P. Diddy abused her for years. And a lot of people don't even notice that Diddy's defense strategy, or at least his legal team, has said that they're going to claim that the encounters between P. Diddy and Cassie were not only consensual, but that P. Diddy also faced abuse in the relationship himself. And the trial is expected to last about 8 weeks. It's expected to kick off this upcoming Monday with opening statements. And as a reminder, P. Diddy is facing 15 years to life in prison. One of the biggest things that came out, a lot of you all were hopping in under my videos asking me to talk about this trial. And one of the biggest things that y'all wanted me to talk about has been the celebrities that have been named so far. And that includes Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Don Richards, Michelle Williams, Young Miami, Kid Cudi, Michael Myers, Aubrielle Day, and even Lauren London. And one of the biggest or the most interesting things about this trial when it comes to all these people being named is I'm curious to see who's going to actually show up. Like, who's going to actually show up to testify against P. Diddy? There's a couple of reasons. One of them being an obvious reasons why I think they're going to try their very hardest not to show up. And in fact, I think most of them probably are not going to show up. And if they do, they're going to probably play dumb. One reason I believe this is going to be the case is because despite the fact that most celebrities seem to turn out progressive, right? They seem to be fluid and open to anything, and nobody's a real Christian. But when it comes to one of their friends or somebody that they work closely with in the industry that's accused of something like a P. Diddy, like a R. Kelly, like a Russell Simmons, all of a sudden they blind and they deaf and they don't know anything. So I think that's one of the obvious reasons. The second reason is because of some of the speculations we've heard. I believe that P. Diddy has dirt on a lot of these people. So what do you look like coming to testify against this dude when he has a tape on you? He has dirt on you. He has information on you, right? So it makes more sense to keep your mouth shut or even try to help his case if you can. Like, I think that would be very weird, right? And speaking of weird things, something I found weird about this trial is that one of the jurors that could potentially be selected actually works in the administration at the Counterterrorism Office of the United Nations. Why is this weird? Because again, one of the biggest speculations that a lot of people, including myself, have been saying is that the reason that P. Diddy is going through all of this is not necessarily just because he's guilty, which I believe he's guilty of all of this, but it's because he crossed the wrong people. He stepped a little bit, he got ahead of himself when he sued that liquor company. I think it's called Diego or something like that. And when he decided to sue them, I think that's when all hell broke loose. And when I look at the jury trial and I look at one of the jurors being somebody that could work in the Office of Counterterrorism of the United Nations, it's like, is this a decoy? How can somebody that's working for the United Nations be on the stand as a juror? I just feel like that's corruption. You know, like that's weird to me. And speaking of corruption, one of the biggest pieces of news that's come out from Diddy's trial has been the fact that one of their star witnesses has come up missing. That's right. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, victim number 3, who apparently had been in contact with them this entire time, just before the trial, all of a sudden this witness has not stopped talking to them. They don't know what this means. But they do say that it's a possibility that once the trial officially kicks off next week, there's a chance that this witness may not even come forward. And if this happens, just imagine what that could mean for this trial. That would greatly help Diddy's case. Now, a lot of people have speculated, what does this mean? Does this mean Diddy paid her off? Does this mean that this witness is still living? Does this mean that this witness was corrupted from the jump? We don't know. But what we do know is that the star witness, victim number 3, who apparently had all these details of abuse and other things that Diddy allegedly did to this person, has now all of a sudden stopped communicating with them. So we got to keep our eyes on that as well. But one of the more bigger stories that I really want to get to is this guy by the name of Jonathan Oddi. If you all remember about it, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit less than a year and a half ago, towards the beginning of last year, I dropped a video on this channel talking about this guy who was arrested after he had a shootout with the police at the Trump Hotel. He was attempting, or allegedly attempting, to unalive Trump. And we'll get to the reason why he said he was trying to unalive Trump, which I think is going to be the biggest part of this video altogether. But this guy shot up the Trump Hotel, had a shootout with the police, eventually got arrested, and when they got him to the interrogation room, he randomly decided to start sharing information that they didn't even ask for, that wasn't even related to the incident. Information like he was actually a slave for P. Diddy, alleging that P. Diddy hired him at the time being a male adult actress. I think he also worked, he worked as a stripper, a male stripper, alleging that P. Diddy hired him to have intercourse with his then girlfriend Cassie, while P. Diddy sat off to the side and watched while playing with himself, which, by the way, if you remember, Jonathan Hay, former industry publicist for Rihanna, whole list of other people including Drake, Boosie, and the list goes on, claimed that it's a 100% fact in his opinion. Everything in this video is alleged from my perspective, but he said it's a fact that Jay-Z is also this way when it comes to Beyonce. And if you want to check that out, please check out the video here. You will not be disappointed, but I digress. This guy claimed that not only did P. Diddy hire him to do this with Cassie, but he said that P. Diddy is also a member of the Masonic Boule Secret Society, but he also said that Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, and P. Diddy are all gay. But he didn't stop there, because he also said that P. Diddy, in one of their quote-unquote freak-offs, which again, I don't think they're freak-offs, and Ali Carter also came out herself and said these are not freak-offs. Stop calling them that. They're rituals. It's sick. They believe in magic.
Told you guys in that Maria Z interview in 2021 that no one tells on Diddy. P. Diddy. Alright? Just the same way nobody tells on Denzel Washington. People don't usually talk and stop and think about the children victims that are going through things right now as we speak, and the ones who suffered through all this bullshit. We stopped somewhere and I've been hiding. My mom and I have been hiding. We've had our head down. We've tried to back up. We even tried to tell you everything that we can, and now we have people messaging us, investigators, people that want to talk now, when now it's because it's trending. We're still not on the subject of the kids. All the adults are covering their asses. All the adults are, I left at a certain time, yet you knew children were there. You knew these parties were not okay. They weren't freak-offs. They were satanic ritual orgies.
As all occult members, right, said that P. Diddy actually gave him an STD in one of their occurrences, which later led to him suing P. Diddy and winning. The craziest part about this story was that when all of this became public some years ago, this dude was called crazy. He was called a Looney Tune, just like people said about Allie Carter. But the media just confirmed it. The media just confirmed that the lawsuit was a real deal. He was actually affiliated with Diddy, and he won the lawsuit. The catch, though, is that he's saying that the lawsuit, or the $5 million that he allegedly, or it's not even alleged, that he won, and proof of that is because he started buying a lot of properties with the money, is that the money wasn't even about the lawsuit itself or about the STD itself. He said that it was actually hush money. It was money to keep him quiet.
Diddy and Ross, which are good buddies, okay? They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They're all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I know you may or may not, I know you're gonna believe me. You have what's called the Illuminati. How do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
You know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
I had settlement with Sean, okay? Okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's what's so famous. I had with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would master tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued for the herpes and won. But Mark Eros and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible, I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
Gotcha.
It's possible, I'm not sure. Now, my settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. So I let it be, but they've been following me, and they've had, Mark Garrett has had the FBI on me, has had other agencies looking at me and spying on me, okay, because they want to set me up as an extortionist. Like if I was extorting Sean for money. It's wrong. Basically what happened is Diddy and Ross, which are good buddies, okay, they're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled.
And even his ex-wife, who is an attorney, got interviewed, and that video actually dropped earlier today, where she came out and confirmed several things that was going on with him, one of them being that she 100% believes that he was a victim. Now, it's much of a big story, we can get into that, because that's mind-blowing. Y'all, like, this was random and had nothing to do with the shootout. They said that they didn't take him serious. They didn't pursue any of the things that he was talking about with P. Diddy. They thought he was crazy. The footage gets released. A lot of people laughed at him. They didn't think he ever knew P. Diddy until you actually looked into his history, and it turns out he did know P. Diddy. But it gets worse. This guy, Jonathan Oddi, states that the reason why he was shooting up the Trump Hotel was because at several times when he would come over and have these interactions and these orgies with, or whatever you want to call it, with P. Diddy and Cassie, or strictly with Cassie, however it happened, he said on a regular occurrence, Diddy would step outside the room and take phone calls. And he got very comfortable, and one of the times he took a phone call, Jonathan allegedly heard him on the phone having a conversation, and it was involving Trump. And at that time, he considered himself a Trump supporter, and he said based on the conversation P. Diddy was having, it confirmed for him, or it confirmed to him that Donald Trump was actually a part of the same club as P. Diddy and the rest of these elite, and he felt betrayed because he thought Trump was different. But he said that Trump is actually a part of the quote-unquote Illuminati. Y'all, that is mind-blowing, y'all. You don't understand how groundbreaking that is. Because as I've been telling y'all, Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein, they say, oh, they had a falling out. He didn't like Jeffrey. Trump is not like the rest of these politicians. Why do you all keep believing that Trump is different? Sure, he stands for things that coincides or aligns with our Christian values. For those of us that are Christians, I agree. But the fact that you all have this cognitive dissonance and choose to believe that a person like Trump can make it to the White House without being involved is mind-blowing.
Because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy.
My nizzle.
You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh, wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Further proof that Trump is a part of the same system that you all claimed that he's fighting against. Watch how the Jeffrey Epstein files never come out. Watch how there are actually no arrests. They claim all this corruption. They've created Doge. They found out that these politicians were stealing all this money. Just like when Trump was in office the first time and he said he was going to go after Hillary Clinton with the emails and all of that. He got into office. He never went after her. Here he is in office again. You say give him time. How much time you need? They're not going to arrest anybody. Why? Because they're two wings of the same bird. They're all in it. They're all in it together. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. That's all I got for this one, y'all. The trial starts Monday. I'll try to do something maybe every week or so to try to keep y'all up to date with this trial. Again, it's hard to kind of pump all these videos out as much as I am. I got 3 different channels. I got a Patreon, and I'm trying to post on all of them. But y'all in the comment section, give me your thoughts. If you knew these things about the trial, what you think about the trial, what you think about the Trump situation, what you think about the interview. Give me your thoughts, man. I'm Demetrius. I go by Diddy. That's all for this one. Until next time. Peace. Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.